Welcome to The Explainer. So, today we're tackling a question that affects pretty much everyone, from students to professionals. What is the absolute best way to take notes so you actually learn something? The answer? Well, it's probably not what you think. Let's dive in. So let's just start with a really provocative question. We all do it, right? We open our laptops, we type away, it's fast, it's neat, it feels productive. But what if I told you that very speed, that efficiency, might actually be getting in the way of real learning?
And look, this isn't some small niche problem. Laptops are, well, they're everywhere. Think about it. A study from just a few years back found that a whopping 91% of community college students have access to one. So how we choose to take notes has a massive, massive impact.
So here's what we're going to cover. First, the dilemma in our digital classrooms. Then we'll get into the big showdown, pen versus keyboard. After that, we'll look at the science of why handwriting works, how to get the best of both worlds, some smarter strategies, and finally, the real secret to learning. All right, let's get right into the main event, the pen versus the keyboard. You'd think faster is always better, right? I mean, it just makes sense. But the science, well, it tells a totally different story.
Okay, so get this. The average person types around 40 words a minute, but when you're writing by hand, it's more like 13. I mean, that's a huge difference. On the surface, typing looks like the obvious winner. You can just capture so much more information, can't you?
Well, here's the catch. That speed, it comes at a price. Because you can type so fast, you're not really thinking. You're just transcribing. You basically become a court reporter, just taking down every single word you hear. Research found that laptop note-takers copied a lecture word for word almost 15% of the time, while the handwriters did it less than 9% of the time.
And that's the whole point, right? Typing like that can lead to simply recording information, not actually understanding it. You're left with a perfect transcript, but the meaning, it might just fly right by.
Okay, so if typing can turn us into mindless recorders, what's so special about good old-fashioned handwriting? Well, it all comes down to this really cool thing our brains do called cognitive processing.
This is really where the magic happens. Think about it. You can't possibly write down every single word someone says. Your hand just isn't fast enough. So what are you forced to do? You have to listen, you have to summarize, and you have to rephrase the big ideas in your own words. And that's the moment real learning kicks in.
And this isn't just a theory. That landmark 2014 study really put this to the test. They found that, yeah, both groups were okay at remembering simple facts. But when it came to the conceptual questions, the ones that prove you actually get it, the longhand note-takers did way, way better. So isn't that kind of wild? The very thing that makes handwriting seem inefficient, its slowness, is actually its secret weapon. That slower pace forces you to think, to synthesize, and to build a real deep understanding of the material, not just a superficial one.
Okay, so does this mean we all need to smash our laptops and go back to feather quills? No, of course not. There's actually a pretty cool way to get the best of both worlds, using a hybrid approach.
The dream, really, is to combine that deep thinking benefit you get from handwriting with all the awesome perks of digital notes. You know, being able to search for things, keeping it all organized, and having it backed up to the cloud.
And you know what? The tech to do this is already here. You take a tablet, maybe even your smartphone, pair it with a good stylus, and you can write your notes by hand directly into an app like Notability, GoodNotes, or OneNote. It's literally the perfect combo.
But here's the thing. Having the right tool is only half the battle. Whether you're using a fancy stylus or a plain old pen, it's the technique that really makes the difference. So, what does a good technique actually look like? Well, there are a few proven methods. Take the Cornell method, for example. It's amazing for pretty much any lecture. You divide your page up, pull out key ideas while you're listening, and then write a summary at the bottom. You're basically forcing your brain to process the information 3 different times. Or maybe you're more of a visual person. Then mapping is perfect. You start with a central idea and branch out, connecting concepts. The real takeaway here is that all of these methods make you an active participant. You're not just transcribing, you're organizing and structuring information as it comes in.
So after all that, what is the single biggest secret to learning?
It really boils down to this. The most important part isn't how you take the notes, it's how you digest them. The whole point of taking notes isn't just to have a perfect record. It's to create a tool for yourself, something that actually helps you learn and remember. And that requires a huge shift in your mindset. Stop trying to be a scribe, just capturing words on a page. Start being a thinker. Your goal isn't to get every word, it's to get every idea and connect it to what you already know.
So we'll leave you with this question to think about. Now that you know this science, the next time you're sitting in a lecture or a big meeting, how are you going to choose to learn?